Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Kev's Movie Corner. I am Kev, and this week we are talking about Midnight Cowboy. This movie was released in 1969. It stars Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman as Joe Buck and Ratso Rizzo. Short narrative for the story is a hustler travels from Texas to New York to seek personal fortune, finding a friend in the process. So this movie was pretty good. It's mostly, like it says, based in New York. It's got a short scene at the beginning in Texas where Joe is from. Basically, you see him getting ready and then leaving for the big city. He just says he's going east, telling all of his co-workers and friends that he's done with Texas. He's gonna go to New York to try to make money off the rich women that are living there, because he ends up, well, he calls himself a hustler, but he's a prostitute in New York. So that's basically what the whole thing is about. He makes it all the way to New York, meets Dustin Hoffman's character, Ratso, who is also kind of a hustler himself. He's not that type of hustler, but just kind of a con man, and ends up ripping off Joe. And then later they kind of get together and become friends, because Joe ends up losing his living space, and they end up living together in a condemned building that nobody's in anymore. So, and the whole movie goes kind of through their trials and tribulations of trying to make it in the big city without having any money, stealing from people, using different tricks to try to get their clothes washed and stay kind of alive and eating and things like that. And this whole time you kind of slowly see Ratso, Dustin Hoffman's character, kind of getting more and more ill. It kind of starts out with a cough. He slowly gets worse and worse, almost like a flu. And this whole time they're trying to make it big. Joe's trying to, get with the ladies and make money, and that ends up going poorly a few times in this whole ordeal. Until he finally makes it, and they decide not to stay, because Ratso has always wanted to be in Miami, where there's even more beautiful women and rich women who will do anything, and he just wants to be in the sun. And at this point he's extremely sick. He can no longer walk. He's constantly sweating. He can't hardly move himself. And they end up getting on a bus and going to Miami. And when they before they even get to Miami, just a few minutes outside of Miami, Ratso ends up dying from his whatever illness that he had. It never states what he was sick from. It just kind of slowly goes downhill. He talks about not wanting a doctor a couple times, because Joe says he's going to go get a doctor when Ratso first can't walk. He says he's going to go get him a doctor, and he says, no, I don't want a doctor. No, he pushes back against that. But the whole time, it's just it's kind of a story about these two becoming friends, and even after, with all their struggles, through all their struggles. Um, there are a lot of slurs. One specific slur used in this movie, which I'm not going to repeat on here. That's not something that would be allowed today. Um, and there's a lot of flashbacks to Joe's childhood and when he was younger. Not always his childhood, but when he was just still in Texas. You see flashbacks to him with a woman who was taken away for being crazy. You see flashbacks to him with his grandmother, and one specific flashback where two women drop him off with his grandmother. So I don't know if that's supposed to be his. I'm guessing that's supposed to be his mother dropping him off with his grandmother. But it seems that you don't ever hear much about Ratso's childhood. I mean, his dad is dead. They do go to visit him at one point, but you see that Joe has had a pretty troubled, it seems, childhood, troubled upbringing, with the things that he's dealt with in his life. So, and that's, I'm guessing, why he decided to make it all the way here. It is a pretty good movie. It's not super long, just under 2 hours. There are some moments that aren't going to, that would be considered problematic today, and that's, like I said, there's the use of some slurs and things in here that would not be okay today. But this movie was also made in the 60s again, so it's still not great, but it was a different time. This movie did win a few awards. Best Picture, Best Director, and Best Adapted Screenplay. It is based on a novel from 1965 by the same name. It is the only what would have then been considered an X-rated film to win Best Picture. X-rated today is a equivalent to NC-17. So, that's interesting. I mean, you don't think of a film that's that raunchy, obviously winning an award like that, but this one did. It was considered significant by the Library of Congress in 1994 and added to the National Film Registry. Couple of interesting things about this. Apparently, Dustin Hoffman. This is after he did the movie The Graduate, which we've watched earlier on this, a while back on this, in the movies, and he thought that his role as kind of a proper kid in that movie would hurt his chances of getting this one, since he's supposed to be kind of like a down in his luck con artist. So, in order to prove that he could, he asked the producer to meet him on a corner in Manhattan, dressed in rags, and begged people on the corner for a few minutes, and until he went up to the producer and revealed who he was, and that's how he got the part of the way that he got the job, by proving that he could actually play somebody like that. And another thing is this is where the line "I'm walking here" comes from, which a lot of people make fun of for New Yorkers. The story is that was improvised, that when they were filming on a street, a cab drove into the shot, almost hit them, and he hit the front of it, and he was going to say, "We're shooting here," but he improvised to stay in character and said, I'm walking here, and that has, become a synonymous thing with New Yorkers, even though it's one scene in a movie from the 60s. So, again, it's a pretty good film. It's probably not something that I would ever watch again. If you could find it for free, it's worth a watch. It's a couple hours long. It's fine. There's nothing in it to me that was super nothing in it to me that is super just like makes me want to go back and see it again. But each to their own on stuff like this. Yeah, I think that is about it for this week. If you guys like this, don't forget to like and subscribe, comment, and next week we're gonna watch Shane, which is from 1953, so a little bit earlier than this one. But yeah, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and I will talk to you guys next week.